You don't have a money problem. You have a pattern, a set of small repeated decisions that quietly shape your financial life every single day. Most people believe money is about numbers, income, expenses, interest rates. But if money were purely mathematical, anyone with a calculator would be wealthy. The truth is far more uncomfortable and far more empowering. Money is driven by behavior. Think about it. You already know the basics. Spend less than you earn, save consistently, avoid unnecessary debt. None of this is secret knowledge. Yet people still struggle. Why? Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. Your financial life is a reflection of your habits, not your knowledge. At the core of this is how your brain is wired. Humans are naturally biased toward instant gratification. When you spend money, your brain gets an immediate reward, a hit of satisfaction, excitement, even relief. But when you save or invest, the reward is delayed. It's abstract. It doesn't feel real today. So your brain does what it's designed to do. It chooses what feels good now. That's why impulse purchases happen. That's why budgets fail. That's why people say, I'll start saving next month and then don't. It's not a discipline issue. It's a design issue. If your environment and systems make spending easy and saving hard, you will almost always default to spending, no matter how motivated you feel in the moment. This is where most people go wrong. They rely on willpower. But willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates based on your mood, energy, stress levels, even the time of day. You can't build long-term wealth on something so inconsistent. Instead, you need to shift from willpower to systems. Systems remove the need to decide every time. They turn good financial behavior into something automatic, almost effortless. For example, if saving happens automatically the moment you get paid, you don't have to remember to do it. If you separate your spending and saving accounts, you reduce temptation. If you set limits in advance, you avoid emotional decisions later. You're not trying to become a more disciplined person. You're becoming a smarter designer of your own behavior. Another key pattern to understand is emotional spending. Money decisions are rarely logical. They're emotional. People spend when they're bored, stressed, tired, or trying to impress others. The purchase isn't about the item, it's about how they want to feel. Once you recognize this, everything changes. Instead of asking, why can't I save money? Ask, what feeling am I trying to buy? Because when you solve the emotion, you reduce the urge to overspend. The goal isn't perfection. It's awareness. When you start noticing your patterns, when you spend, why you spend, how you justify it, you begin to take back control. And control is where financial progress begins. Pick one behavior to fix this week. Not everything, just one. Maybe it's tracking your expenses. Maybe it's automating your savings. Maybe it's pausing before impulse purchases. Small changes in behavior don't feel dramatic in the moment, but over time they compound into something powerful. Because in the end, wealth isn't built by knowing more. It's built by doing the right things consistently, even when it's boring. You don't get paid what you want. You get paid what you believe you're worth and what your actions consistently prove. This is the quiet force most people ignore. They focus on tactics, new skills, side hustles, investment strategies, but overlook the foundation everything is built on: identity. Your identity is the story you repeat to yourself about who you are. And whether you realize it or not, that story is shaping every financial decision you make. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, not disciplined enough, just getting by, you will unconsciously act in ways that confirm that identity. You might avoid checking your finances, hesitate to ask for higher pay, or spend impulsively because that's just how you are. This isn't lack of ability. It's identity protection. Your brain's job is to keep your behavior aligned with your self-image. Even if your current identity is limiting, it feels familiar, and familiar feels safe. So anytime you try to grow financially, there's internal resistance. That's why people sabotage their own progress. Not because they want to fail, but because success would require becoming someone different. Here's the shift. If you want to change your financial outcomes, you need to upgrade your identity first. Instead of saying, I want to save more money, start saying, I am someone who manages money well. Instead of, I hope I earn more, say, I am someone who creates value and gets paid for it. This might sound simple, even superficial, but it's powerful. Because when your identity changes, your decisions start to align automatically. A person who identifies as financially responsible doesn't need to force themselves to save. It's just what they do. A person who believes they deserve better income naturally looks for opportunities, negotiates, and invests in their growth. Identity removes friction. But here's the important part. You can't just say a new identity. You have to prove it to yourself. And you do that through small, consistent actions. Every time you save a portion of your income, track your spending, turn down an unnecessary purchase, learn something new about money, you cast a vote for your new identity. At first, it feels unnatural. That's normal. You're stepping outside your old patterns. But over time, those small actions build evidence, and that evidence reshapes how you see yourself. Another key piece is your belief around money itself. If you believe money is hard to make, rich people are selfish, I don't deserve financial success, you'll subconsciously avoid situations that could increase your income. Because deep down, success would conflict with your beliefs. So part of upgrading your identity is challenging these narratives. Money isn't good or bad, it's a tool. And earning more doesn't make you a different person. It gives you more options, more freedom, and more ability to create impact. Practical shift. Start asking better questions. What would a financially confident person do in this situation? What decision aligns with the person I want to become? These questions pull you out of your current habits and into your future identity. Write down one sentence that defines your new financial identity. Something simple and clear like, I am someone who earns, manages, and grows money with intention. Then prove it daily through action. Because in the end, your income doesn't rise to your goals. It rises to the level of who you believe you are. Every time you choose not to spend money, you're not missing out. You're buying a future version of your life that most people never reach. This is where the real separation happens, not between rich and poor, but between those who react to every impulse and those who can pause, think, and choose differently. Delayed gratification sounds simple, wait now, benefit later. But in reality, it goes directly against how your brain is wired. Your brain loves immediacy. It wants rewards now, not in 5 years. That's why buying something today feels exciting, while saving for the future feels flat. There's no instant dopamine hit from moving money into savings. No applause. No visible upgrade in your lifestyle. So most people default to what feels good in the moment. They upgrade their phone too early. They spend to celebrate small wins. They reward stress with shopping. And over time, these small decisions quietly drain their financial potential. But here's the shift. Delayed gratification isn't about restriction. It's about control. It's about deciding that your future matters just as much as your present. When you master this skill, everything changes. Because money starts to accumulate, not dramatically at first, but consistently. And consistency is what creates real wealth. The key is making the future feel real, not abstract. Right now, your future self probably feels like a distant stranger. It's easy to ignore their needs because there's no emotional connection. But when you start visualizing your future clearly, where you live, how you spend your time, the freedom you have, it becomes easier to act in their favor. You're no longer saving money, you're funding a life. Another powerful shift is reframing what you're giving up. Most people think, if I don't buy this, I'm losing something. Instead, think, if I don't buy this, I'm choosing something better later. It's not loss, it's trade-off. And once you see it that way, discipline starts to feel less like sacrifice and more like strategy. Now, this doesn't mean you should never spend money or enjoy your life. That's not the goal. The goal is intentional enjoyment. Spend on what truly matters to you, but cut back on what doesn't. Because delayed gratification isn't about saying no to everything. It's about saying not now to things that don't align with your bigger priorities. One simple but powerful habit is creating a pause between desire and decision. When you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, don't act immediately. Wait 24 hours. Give your emotions time to settle. What feels urgent in the moment often loses its appeal with a little distance. This pause creates space for logic to catch up with emotion. And in that space, better decisions happen. Over time, this becomes a habit. You stop reacting impulsively and start choosing consciously. And that shift alone can completely transform your financial trajectory. Because wealth isn't built through one big decision. It's built through hundreds of small moments where you chose the future over the present. Before your next purchase, ask yourself, do I want this now or do I want something bigger later? Your answer won't just shape that one decision. It will shape your entire financial life. If you avoid your money, it doesn't disappear, it just grows in the wrong direction. This is one of the most overlooked truths about building wealth. Attention is a multiplier. Whatever you consistently pay attention to improves. Whatever you ignore slowly deteriorates. And money is no different. Most people don't have a strategy problem. They have an avoidance habit. They don't check their bank accounts regularly. They delay looking at bills. They ignore investments, not because they don't care, but because it feels uncomfortable. There's a subtle anxiety around money for many people. What if I've overspent? What if I'm not doing enough? What if things aren't as good as I think? So instead of facing it, they disconnect. But avoidance comes at a cost. When you don't track your money, small expenses go unnoticed. Bad habits repeat themselves. Opportunities to improve are missed. And over time, that lack of awareness creates bigger problems. Here's the shift. Clarity creates control. The moment you start paying attention to your money, even in a simple way, you begin to take back power. You see where your money is going. You understand your patterns. You can make adjustments. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aware. Think of it like this. If you were running a business, you wouldn't ignore the numbers and hope everything works out. You'd track revenue, expenses, and profit. You'd review performance regularly. Your personal finances deserve the same level of attention because whether you realize it or not, you are managing a financial system. And systems need feedback to improve. One of the most effective ways to build this awareness is through a simple weekly habit, a money check-in. Set aside 20-30 minutes once a week. That's it. During this time, review your recent spending, check your account balances, track progress toward your goals. Make small adjustments if needed. This isn't about judgment. It's not about criticizing yourself for past decisions. It's about staying connected to your financial reality. And something interesting happens when you do this consistently. You start making better decisions without trying as hard. Why? Because awareness naturally influences behavior. When you know you'll be reviewing your spending, you become more intentional throughout the week. You pause more. You think twice. You align your actions with your goals. Attention creates alignment. Another powerful aspect of attention is focus. If all your attention goes towards spending, your money will disappear. If your attention shifts towards saving, investing, and growing your income, your financial life starts moving in a different direction. Where focus goes, results follow. This doesn't require complex tools or advanced knowledge. You don't need perfect spreadsheets or sophisticated systems. You just need consistency. Simple awareness, repeated over time, creates powerful results. Because the goal isn't to control every penny. The goal is to stop operating on autopilot. When you're intentional with your money, even small improvements compound. A little less waste here, a little more saving there, slightly better decisions over time, it all adds up. And that's how real financial progress happens. Quietly, gradually, consistently. Schedule your first weekly money check-in. Put it in your calendar like it matters, because it does. Sit down, review your numbers, and ask one simple question. What's one small thing I can improve this week? Start there. Because in the end, wealth doesn't grow from complexity. It grows from attention.